Hi there. My name is Aaron Lanterman. I'm a professor of electrical and computer engineering at Georgia Tech. In the last couple of lectures of ECE2026, Introduction to Signal Processing, we've explored discrete Fourier transforms. At the end of the last lecture, we touched on the idea of zero padding. Here, we'll explore that further. We've talked about the way the discrete Fourier transform can be thought of as finding samples of the discrete time Fourier transform of a finite length discrete time signal. We generally suppose that the signal is non-zero over a finite length L, and that it's zero outside of that, and then we can compute an endpoint discrete Fourier transform. If you want to make a nice looking plot, you generally want n to be bigger than L, so you have a lot of sample points to make a nice plot with. At a conceptual level, as the number of points goes to infinity, a properly reformatted discrete Fourier transform converges to the discrete time Fourier transform. Now you should interpret this arrow here as being a fairly hand-wavy thing. In order to make this kind of statement precise, we need a lot more mathematical machinery than we have in ECE2026. But this example involving a 5-point averager will give you the basic idea. So suppose we have this 5-point averager, and we're taking a 10-point discrete Fourier transform. The blue line here shows the underlying discrete time Fourier transform of this 5-point sequence. Now, when you take the discrete Fourier transform and then take the inverse, you have this effective periodicity in the time domain, resulting in copies here, and so on. But the main point here is that if I were to take just a 5-point discrete Fourier transform, you wouldn't have this line, this line, this line, this line, or this line. You would just see the peak here, and all the samples would be at the zero crossings. But by having a sequence that's twice as long for our DFT by zero padding, I wind up with these points in between, and now we can see some of that sink structure. If I double the size of the DFT through zero padding, I wind up including the points in between those points, making that so-called digital sink structure even more obvious. And then I could double that again, filling in even more points. And with a bit of hand-waving, we can imagine this period going to infinity, and imagine then these lines in the spectral domain getting smushed closer and closer together, and eventually forming the original discrete time Fourier transform. Again, we don't really have the tools to make this precise here, but that gives you the idea. Now I want to emphasize that zero padding just basically gives you nicer looking plots that may be easier for some simple algorithm further down the line to analyze. But fundamentally, this plot doesn't contain any more information than this one or this one.